Good morning, fourth grade. Today we're going to continue with area and say we're going to use area to help us problem solve. I'm going to go over a few examples for us and show you exactly how we're going to use area to help us problem solve. So let's get into it. The first problem says, a landscaper is laying grass for a rectangular playground. The grass will cover the whole playground except for a square sandbox. The diagram shows the playground and the sandbox. How many square yards of grass will a landscaper use? So the question is asking us, how many square yards of grass will the landscaper use? Now, if I reread the problem, it says the grass will cover the whole playground except for a square sandbox. Here's the picture, the diagram. Here's our sandbox, and here is our playground. Now, this problem is asking us to find the area of a square and a rectangle. So we know that our area for a square equals 4 times the side. And we know that because a square has 4 sides that are all the same length. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the area of this square. Now it's already labeled that our side is 6 yards. So our area will equal 4 times 6. Now I know that 4 times 6 equals 24. So I know the area of our sandbox will be 24 square yards. I know that's the area of the sandbox. Now the next step I need to do is I need to find the area of the playground. Now I see that we have our width and our length already labeled. Now I know that the area for a rectangle is length times width. And they already gave them to us. It's not like before where we had to find it. So we already know what our length and our width is. So I can go ahead and I can replace our length and our width in our equation with what we have in our diagram. So we have 25 yards as our length and our width is 15 yards. So the area of our rectangle will be 25 times 15. 25 times 15 will equal 375. And since we are finding the area, I know that it will be square yards. Now I know that the area of the entire playground is 375 yards, and the area of the sandbox is 24 square yards. But the problem is asking us, how many square yards of grass will the landscaper use? And we know the grass will cover the whole sandbox except for a square sandbox. So we know that it's covering the whole playground except for that sandbox. So what we're going to do to solve is, if we already know this entire area and we just want to take away the sandbox, we will subtract the area of the sandbox from the area of the entire playground. So I will do 375 minus 24. Now 375 minus 24 will equal 351. And again, I wasn't just asked to solve using numbers or solve an equation. I was actually asked, how many square yards of grass will a landscaper use? So it's important that I pay attention. I know it's talking about square yards, and I know that already because I'm finding area. But since I was asked a question, I need to write my answer statement. So since I know that they will use 351 square yards, I can use that to write my answer statement. The landscaper will use 351 square yards. And we'll look back up to see how many square yards of grass. So I know the landscaper will use 351 square yards of grass. So first, we find the area of the object on the inside, then we find the area of the total box, and then we subtract.